Update. My stepdaughter tried to sabotage my honeymoon and even tried to delete my unborn baby, then she ran away from home and confessed to trying to end my pregnancy, saying that I was trying to replace her mom. It's been about 3 weeks since my last post, and things have gotten even more complicated. A few days after I posted, Eric and I sat down with Renee to try and have a calm discussion about everything that had happened. We wanted to understand why she did what she did and figure out how we could all move forward. At first, Renee was very defensive. She insisted that she hadn't meant to hurt me, that it was just a prank that went too far. Eric and I tried to explain how serious her actions were, how she could have really harmed my health. After a lot of back and forth, Renee finally broke down. She admitted that she'd been feeling really angry and hurt ever since Eric and I got married. She said she felt like I was trying to replace her mom and that Eric didn't care about her anymore. I was shocked. I had no idea Renee felt that way. I tried to assure her that I wasn't trying to replace her mom, that I just wanted us all to be a family. Eric also reassured her that he loved her just as much as ever. We talked for hours, with lots of tears on all sides. By the end, it felt like we'd made some progress. Renee apologized sincerely for what she'd done on the trip. We agreed to start family therapy to work on our issues. I really thought things were going to get better after that. But about a week later, everything fell apart again. I came home early from work one day and found Renee going through my things in my bedroom. She was reading my journal and looking through my personal documents. When I confronted her, she tried to lie at first. But when I said I caught her red-handed, she got angry. She started yelling at me, saying I had no right to privacy in her house. She said her dad had told her she could go through my things. I was furious and hurt. I called Eric immediately and told him what happened. He came home right away and was livid when he heard what Renee had done. He assured me he had never given Renee permission to go through my things. Eric tried to talk to Renee, but she locked herself in her room and refused to come out. She stayed in there all night, ignoring our attempts to talk to her. The next morning, Renee was gone. She'd climbed out her window in the middle of the night and run away. She left a note saying she couldn't live with us anymore and was going to stay with her aunt, Eric's sister. Eric and I were frantic. We called the police and spent hours driving around looking for her. Finally, late that night, Eric's sister called. Renee was safe at her house. Eric went to pick her up, but Renee refused to come home. She said she wanted to live with her aunt from now on. Eric's sister agreed to let Renee stay for a while until things calmed down. It's been 2 weeks now, and Renee is still at her aunt's house. Eric goes to see her every day, but she still refuses to come home. She says she hates me and doesn't want to live with me. I'm at a loss. I feel like everything I've tried to do to connect with Renee has backfired. Eric is stressed and upset, caught between his daughter and his wife. I don't know what to do anymore. Should I suggest that Eric let Renee live with her aunt permanently? Should I be the one to move out? I love Eric, but I don't know how much more of this I can take. Update 2. It's been about 2 months since my last update, and a lot has happened. After Renee ran away to her aunt's house, Eric and I had a lot of long, difficult conversations. We both agreed that we couldn't continue living like this. Something had to change. We decided to try family therapy again, this time including Eric's sister in some of the sessions. It was hard at first. Renee was still very angry and resistant to the idea of coming home. But slowly, over several weeks of therapy, things started to improve. Renee began to open up more about her feelings. She talked about how much she missed her mom and how scared she was of losing her dad too. I realized that in my efforts to bond with Renee, I'd been trying too hard to be her friend. What she really needed was for me to respect her relationship with her dad and give her space to grieve her mom. Eric also recognized that he needed to set clearer boundaries with Renee and be more consistent in his parenting. He'd been so worried about hurting her that he'd let her get away with too much. After about a month of therapy, Renee agreed to come home for a trial period. We set up some new house rules and expectations for everyone. It wasn't easy, but we all tried our best to make it work. Things were going okay for a while. Not perfect, but better than before. Renee and I were at least being civil to each other, and she seemed to be adjusting to being back home. But then, about 2 weeks ago, everything changed again. I got a call from my doctor's office. They wanted me to come in to discuss some test results. I hadn't told Eric or Renee that I'd been to the doctor recently, so I was a bit nervous. When I got to the doctor's office, I received some shocking news. I'm pregnant. About 8 weeks along. I was stunned. Eric and I hadn't been planning on having kids anytime soon. We'd talked about it and agreed to wait a few years. I was on birth control, so I didn't think this was even possible.